meeting to order. This is our work session for the month of October. We're going to do the roll call at this, and there are no guests to recognize. Thank you. Item E would be the recognition of meetings. Item A will be pride and promises. Item 3, reports from standing committees of the board. Reports from administrators and supervisors. Jay Sean.
So far we've been going good. The 2 new buses that we got, we actually just got the state police here. We got their inspection done on them. So we're pretty well ready to roll on those. We've got to get the cameras switched over to our style cameras. But other than that, it's pretty good. We conducted on Monday our evacuation to teach all the kids how to get out of the buses. Went very well. Looking forward to, we've got a class coming up next week to train a couple new people for CDL. So hopefully, and we've got a couple A's coming on now, and we're going to get hopefully a couple people trained to drive buses, and we'll be up to date on staff if this all falls through correctly.
I won't have to cry. Nothing else, Mr. Sager. Okay. Mr. Jones.
I don't know if anybody's noticed, but down by the treatment plant, going down there, it's been about a year-long plan cleaning that up. And we got all the millings that we had spread out, and then we got everything down there seeded and planted in. It's actually up on the ground. The end game is hopefully we can have the bonfire there, bring it in-house, and do it here.
Where it used to be.
Right. And it doesn't look bad. I got to get rid of some pallets and a little bit of stuff in about 20 minutes. So that's all up and going. Our irrigation system, I'm sure you heard, that fell through a couple weeks ago when we played Rochester. And the short story of this is we checked for everything for sucking air, and it was not sucking air. The lake's low enough, it doesn't have enough pressure from the top side that it. We put a full pump, as bad as it sounds, with a garden hose into where we primed it, and it took prime and lit. So we've been able to use it, and thank God for the rain too.
Just on that kind of pressure.
And as bad as that sounds, because the pipe was full, the pump was primed, and still could not get in. It was just basically volume pressure down, and it's basically, from what I was told by the pump guys, not actually the correct pump on there, but it does work. Now that it's figured out. And we had 2 water leaks out here. As soon as we got it running, we had one on the field, of course, and then we had another one from the school, one at the concession stand. So everything's fixed there for the time being. And as September and October of all times meets, but that'll mean a couple. The one down in the elementary, I don't know that I've ever seen a hive that big, and it's probably been 25 years just growing. We take 1.5 foot, 2 foot out and find a new nest, and it just kept going. It was in the univent, so we covered it back up, got everything out, and we actually took house screen behind the main grates. Hopefully we won't have this problem again. I mean, I'm guessing 3 or 4 wheelbarrow loads of nested within one hole.
It's like yellow jacket.
Yeah. The friendly ones.
Yeah. It's been more than once.
And believe it or not, we didn't get hit, not once. It'll happen this week. We'll get nailed by something on the ground, but yeah, it's been good. So,
yeah, I did notice it down there being cleaned up. I mean, that's been weeds back in there for quite a few years.
well, we took actually 2 40-yard dumpsters out of there for scrap. I think the original bleachers from the high school football field were still down there in the woods I drug out of there. And it was angle iron, so I'm guessing they were bigger than like a softball bleacher.
Any issues for Mr.
Right. So we had our safety and security drill at the middle high school on September 23rd. That's where we go over all of the different responses from the standard response protocol that we do, such including a lockdown. Mr. Lake explained all of that, and went over everything, and then we practiced the lockdown. We went and checked all the classrooms, and the teachers did a really good job at following instructions and teaching their students what to do. We were very pleased with how that went. We'll be doing that this month. Yes. At the elementary school. We'll be doing a similar thing there that Mr. Swerver will be running. Myself and Officer McLean attended a child abuse investigation training at Newcastle Police Department yesterday. It was free and it was right in Newcastle, so we just went over and did that, got a lot of good information. I made sure the 20 people from CYS were there that knew who I was, and they had dealt with me before, so it was kind of funny to see them and hear their complaints, and the instructor was basically on our side, saying, no, when you need to do your job. So it went well overall. It was a good training. We worked together with them. I think we're gonna have some better inroads with CYS, and we'll be able to get a lot more stuff done. But we did that training yesterday. The Raptor kiosk is now on and active at the elementary school, very similar to the one here at the high school. I've tested it a couple of times. It's been working well. There wasn't as much of a change in protocols there because they had already kind of used that secure vestibule for the most part. So it was a small change for them as opposed to the high school. We had to completely redo things. So it was a real easy turnover. It's been going well there as well.
Any questions for Chief Will? Mrs. Link?
Okay, so on the agenda, we are hiring for the special ed aid position at the high school. So if anybody had anything to do with that to assist us, thank you. This is the first time I'll be fully staffed since I've been here, so that's very exciting. We are continuing with year 2 of our Developing Future Special Educators grant, and that is through the Super Spartan Spirit Cafe Shop. This is the 2 periods of service learning. So this is where we have general education students and special education students coming together, working together to make coffee, deliver coffee, take the money. So we're working on a variety of skills for students with special needs, and we're hoping that students may go into education to work with students with special needs. So that is the purpose of the grant, and it's going wonderfully. Mrs. Jacobs will be going on maternity leave beginning in a week or so. We are contracting with Bright Beginnings and Beyond for speech and language services, and the speech pack coming in will be here approximately 2.5 hours or 2.5 days a week to fulfill all of those needed sessions for all of the students who have speech and language services. So we are running a compacted schedule until Mrs. Jacobs returns, but all sessions and all IEPs will be met. And then the last thing is in February, March, we're looking at different curriculums for our Life Skills Autistic Support Classroom. And one of the things that we have not had in the past is an evidence-based curriculum to help meet the needs of our most severely disabled students. We have purchased the Unique Learning System through News to You, and that will work on basic reading, written expression, vocabulary, math, calculation, math, reasoning skills such as time and money and writing skills with our students, so that it is a standards-based program to just look at all of their needs very concisely and on their grade level. So we are able to teach a variety of students at a variety of grade levels because our autistic support classroom in the elementary is K through 6, high school is grade 7 through 12. So we do have a variety of age levels in there. So really excited to do that and what we budgeted. We did not need that much. This came in significantly under budget and under about $10,000 with the 4 iPads and the curriculum. So really excited about that. So thank you for approving.
Does that help them any with their PSSA testing?
So the students that are using this curriculum take what's called the PASA or the alternative assessment. So it does help them on that assessment. So what our hopes are is to see.
Isn't it also level based upon where they are?
It is. So it is a grade-based, level-based curriculum. So it's really working them up. But with regard to the PASA, it helps increase that vocabulary. It is a very visually based program. So it is, if you're looking at it, it's kind of similar to the PASA in the presentation of it because it is on the iPad as well.
So when they take that PASA test, do they get the same help they would get in a normal classroom?
They do. So it is one-on-one. It is read to them. We were able to provide all of those accommodations, and it is only, it's that student and the teacher, and they're going through the questions, and they have manipulatives there with them. Yeah.
No. Why are some of our past PASA kids not have to take the PSSA?
Some of our PASA kids have to take the PSSA because the state has changed the cognitive and adaptive requirements to take the PASA. So in order to be identified as a student with an intellectual disability, your IQ needs to be below 70, along with your adaptive scores. So your ability to communicate with others and your independent living, such as toileting and dressing, and your communication skills. So all of those skills are addressed with your adaptive skills.
What's an average IQ?
Average IQ is 100. So when we look at that beautiful bell curve, 100 is right in the middle, 70 is at the first percentile, 70 and below is considered an intellectual disability. The state decided that only students with an IQ of 63 or below are eligible to take the PASA, and those students with an IQ of 64 to 70 must take the PASA.
So,
Or the PSSA.
so in conclusion, I want everyone to think about this. If you are lucky enough to be below average in IQ, even lower than me, you are 64 to 70. Instead of getting a state altered test, you now get the grade level assessment. I have a better shot of dunking a basketball than having a student. Think about what she said. The label is intellectually disabled. So we're going to give an intellectually disabled student a grade level test. I don't care if you give them extended time. I don't care if you read with them. I don't care if you put hands on them and hope for a miracle. There's no way a student with a 64 to a 70 IQ is going to pass a grade level test. It's asinine. There you go.
It's frustrating, and we see a lot of behaviors. So
I was just curious because Len sent out one of your reports a couple months ago. And it was about this, and I understood about half of it.
I'm sorry.
It didn't sound about, well, that's not my So it didn't look good, whatever they
Well,
were trying.
what I sent was those were being filmed, and I have to watch my language. The changes in the accommodations, what you can and cannot do this year.
Oh, and that's the PSSA assessment. So the PSSA assessment changes and accommodations have taken away any type of, if a student needs a reader, if currently in their IEP, they may have a test read to them by our instruction aides. They find that now to be not natural, and students have to wear headphones, and the entire test is read to them by the computer. And that's for any student. So any student who has that as an accommodation, if that student would require a human reader, they would have to have that test done one-on-one. So the state has limited us because we don't have staff to have all of our students who have information read to them daily, actually to have it in their natural environment. I think that's what Mr. Rich
So
is.
we're gonna run a 100-yard sprint, and I want you to do it at record levels, but we're gonna tie one leg behind you. Set.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm frustrated, I'm sorry.
Mr. Lake.
I'm supposed to only have 3 or 4 bullets, but there's a lot going on, so I didn't know what to eliminate, so they're all in there. Couple things here in the last couple of weeks. Jostens was here as they normally do, so if you have any students out there that are seniors or sophomores, Jostens met with them. Seniors for graduation announcements, caps and gowns, and then sophomores the traditional class rings. And it's more than just class rings now. They have a whole presentation and a whole bunch of things that they offer. So Jostens is still doing that for our kids. Seniors last Friday went to the College and Career Fair at Westminster. That third bullet, we finished our first benchmark, and we had our data team meeting actually today. To piggyback on what Leslie was talking about, we spent a majority of the data team meeting is not actually talking about data, but talking about the process, because the test in the spring will be all online. So the state has sent out a link for training and tutorials, and we spent a lot of the time today during our data meetings just going over with teachers, and now they got to portray that to the kids. And now it's not just a test of content knowledge, but it's a test of technology skills, using a highlighter, making the print larger. If it's math, there's an online calculator. So the students need to know how to use all those tools. And then for the open-ended, obviously they could still do a rough draft where they're writing, but then they got to take that rough draft and actually physically type it in. You only have so many characters and so many words in the box. So it's a game that you have to play. Like I said, just not testing your content knowledge, but testing your technology skills. So we spent a ton of time today going over some of those things with the teachers. Anything else you want to add to that while you're on a roll? Okay. All right. Also today, it's the odd year, so October 1st is the day where PA principals enter the enrollments. So I did that for the PIA. That'll be for the next 2 years classification cycle. If anybody's interested, we have 133 boys in 9th, 10th, and 11th grade, and 127 girls in 9th, 10th, 11th grade. And those 3 grades make up our classifications for the next 2 school years. By December, the state will come out with where we are. If it's the same cutoffs or traditional cutoffs, I can't see us going anywhere, and we'll be in the same classifications.
I have 133.
133 boys and 127 girls.
Is everyone comparable to that?
I sent a group text out to all the principals today, and I only had one response, and that was Mr. Frangel at Mohawk. Mohawk's was in the 170s. So, yeah.
How did those numbers compare to our last census?
I think last 2 years ago when I did it, it was boys were 136 and girls were 133, so very similar. Yeah, girls a little bit lower. We still have to count LCC, TC, any homebound, those types of people as well. A few years back, they counted those as 1/10 of a student. So if you had 30 outside in the areas, it was only counting as 3, but now it's still full body. So, events coming up, a couple this week, October 3rd. Juniors are going to have a meeting with representative for Manufacturing Week. That representative's been going to all the schools in the county all week. They're going to come here Friday morning. All the juniors know that. And then in the afternoon on the 3rd, we'll have our all-school assembly to celebrate the homecoming court. Saturday, then, we'll have our dance at the LCAP facility. And next week, 2 more field trips. So we have something for every grade level here in the last couple of weeks and in the future. 8th grade goes to the Health Career Fair at Scottish Rite Cathedral. And next Thursday, the 10th grade goes to the Business and Career Fair. That's a traditional thing that Mrs. Linda Jaworski helps put on for the county. And then one final stat, actually the STAT team, the Student Technology Assistant team, they've reviewed and fixed about 100 student devices and I'm sure if Dr. Lee wants to add anything to it, they're older devices that were sort of getting out of the population, and the ones that they fixed, he purchased screens, batteries, and keyboards, and those are the biggest three things that the kids are fixing. So in-house, we're taking care of those things.
I'll speak to that in my report, but yeah, they've been great. They've been great.
Any questions from Mr. Lake? Mrs. Clemens?
So an attendance update, we've averaged about 96% attendance in both the high school and elementary for September. Of course, we started school, so now they're sharing their germs, and so we're dealing with the common colds happening. I've had to issue some truancy letters already because parents are forgetting to submit excuses. So anytime I have an excuse, close to filing for a court already too.
So they can do those online, right?
They can actually submit them through Parent Square, and I also accept them if they email them to me or to any of the.
So you can't make it any easier.
It's very easy.
It comes right to your phone. You click on it.
Yeah, that part is nice.
Usually do it the minute I get it.
That's my favorite. We didn't know.
Elementary science lab. I want to talk about this for a few minutes. In the 5th grade hallway, there's an elementary science lab that our 5th, 6th grade teachers have really been working hard at cleaning it up and organizing it. And they are now doing combined experiments in there. And they're pulling all 3 groups in at one time, like if it's 5th grade, and they're doing these experiments to kind of wrap up their units. It's been very successful. It's been amazing to see. It's still a process, but the kids are loving it, and it's great. Mr. Swerve got to go in and they did the layers of the earth, and it was all edible. So they enjoyed that. It was delicious. I did attend the safety care training. It was 2 days at the intermediate unit, so I am now trained and certified, so I can help out in both buildings if there are issues with any students. Upcoming program, you probably already aware because Mr. Rich put this one out, but the Oneness Bullying Awareness Program, Sean Cannon, that was in Karate Kid and Cobra Kai, is coming to present. He has a book that's on October 14th, and that's for 7th and 8th grade. So we'll kind of steer our houses and our school-wide positive behavior system around that.
So I had a chance to talk to Sean last spring. Sean Kanan is his stage name. His real last name, does anybody know?
I do. Perlman.
Perlman. So if you remember Perlman's jewelry, okay, he is the son of Perlman's jewelry. In another life, when I was a youth wrestler, he was a youth wrestler a few years older than me, and his nickname was Hollywood. So there must have been some type of prophecy back then. I'll give Sean credit for this because even now his mom and dad have left the area. Sean lives in California and his sister lives in Arizona. So the parents moved to Arizona in their 80s to be closer to the grandchildren. And Sean is still coming back to perform this service. He hasn't forgotten the little town and area that he came from.
Yes, they are offering a parent program on, I believe it's October 16th, I think it's Cathedral. Anyone that signs up ahead of time will get a signed copy of this book for that. And the focus is bullying. We are planning again for our 8th grade field trip that will be held in May. So I just wanted to put it out there. Mr. DiBiase put information out, met with all the 8th graders. But they need to sign up, and the first deposit is due by October 10th to save their spot.
Thank you for telling us that. I appreciate that.
That's Gettysburg.
That's kidding.
When you were here, was it Gettysburg then? I know it was Gettysburg, and then DC, and we bought a title for it.
I'll be from Portland, want to see.
Whole thing.
Thank you.
So we, complete our diagnostic testing at the beginning of September. Just to review, diagnostic testing gives us a great level of fluency for each kid. Right now, the benchmark testing window is open. The benchmark testing window basically tells us if they were to take the PSSA right now, or about what they score. So that's the difference between the two. So in our first data meeting we really focused on the diagnostic scores and compared those to the PSSA scores we did that previous year. And like Mr. Lake said, our first data meeting we talked about online testing, went over the tools, and we've been talking back and forth. We're going to plan a day when we're ready to have all the kids 3 through 8 sit down and do a practice at the same time to see what that's going to do to our bandwidth and see if we can handle that much traffic through that site. So we want to do that prior to the first day of testing and try to figure out if we have any issues. So
It's in our site or the state site?
all of the above. Yeah.
Our bandwidth.
All the above. Yeah, we won't have any streaming, no, like, we've already talked a little bit about some of our plans on how we'll limit the bandwidth usage, throughout the district.
This is all Wi-Fi.
That's, yeah, it is. And like you said, a little bit of both. So there's a local, Robert probably speak to it better, a local server that kind of saves, like if the kid gets kicked out, it'll save their progress so they can log back in and stay where they're at and not have to restart the test. Yeah, it's a cost server continuity of services. So if there's a hiccup, it goes, it catches it, caches it, you come back on. And it does work. We used it last year.
But you're gonna have the entire state at one time. They thought this through.
No,
Well, they had about half.
absolutely not.
I'm just asking.
They had about half the schools test online last year. You had an option.
Right.
We just held out, so we could. So they had about half the schools test online last year.
We did hear some more stories on the first day.
We did do science
I
last.
just feel like it's taking away from instruction because now you've got to focus on,
No question.
it's just,
Well, not only that, but Mr. Lake talked about typing, so it's one of the things, and we've got a new typing program that's supposed to help too, but can't expect the computer teachers to do it because that's only a rotational. So now the regular teachers are gonna have to take time to make sure the kids are practicing typing, taking their rough draft and putting it on the computer.
Which has nothing to do with the knowledge and skills of the content area.
And then you moving
Knowledge
on.
I get from the state is, ready, bam, aim.
So we're already just finished up halfway through the first quarter, so progress reports were pushed out. Our Title I intervention groups, we start off the year with what we call it the Smart Start program to do some review with kids who qualified at the end of last year. All of our testing is finished, all of our groups are set up, so we've begun those new intervention groups. And something you'll see there since I'm talking about Title I, we do have a Title I para resignation, and I will have a name for that for next week. So, and if there's any questions, briefly talk afterwards if you'd like. Bread basket program has started. We're doing a little over 20 boxes or bags a week for that. Picture day, always an exciting thing in Dodge. Supposed to be a picture day, and then Nicole said we had our grandparents breakfast. We actually had over 50 more people served this year at grandparents breakfast. I think part of that was it worked out that we scheduled it on a day that there wasn't anything else going on, so I know that's helped too. Right? Definitely good turnout. Lots of thankfulness from grandparents.
We had 386 meals served.
any questions for Mr. Scribley? Dr. Moore? Or Lou?
I got the wrong one. I'm sorry. So just a couple things I remember my notes. All right, the kiosk at the elementary, chief spoke to it, but it's installed and functional. Kudos to Mr. Jones and Mr. Boyer because they had to actually run electric. We didn't have electric there or anything, so they made it happen really quick. So thank you. We also kicked in our two-factor authentication, which has been great for everybody. Everybody loves two-factor authentication in real life. So it's been even more fun in our professional life. And I say that sarcastically, right? I mean, it's a necessary evil. We have and this is for staff, we kicked it in this year. It's been voluntary, but this year we mandated it simply to improve our cybersecurity and some of the problems we've had. Plus, it'll put us in a position where we can actually qualify for cybersecurity insurance. So it was a necessary
implementation. Happy to say it's gone off pretty well. With over 300 users, we've had less than 10 people that's had issues. So that's, I think, like 4%. Very happy with that, especially with the change of that magnitude. Just to point to the curriculum hub, we did lots of updates, cleanup. I actually had a superintendent out east that actually found our site. I didn't even tell Mr. Richards. They found our site, asked questions about our template, our process, etc. So you wouldn't think it, but people were finding our stuff just by searching, and specifically with our, understanding by design format and the templates there. And it just proves that we're on the right track with what we're doing. This was a pretty decent sized school out east too. Mr. Lape spoke to the stat team. They're doing a great job. Right. And I know we had to order some parts and we planned a budget for that, but I want to point out that these kids are cannibalizing everything they can. Right. We've recycled a ton of stuff, screens, keyboards, power adapters, etc. Anything we could cannibalize and reuse, we have reused. They're doing a great job. So that, in conjunction with some of the other processes we put in place that Mr. Lape has put in place for this year, specifically having people go to the office for swap out, I think it's really improved the continuity of the educational process. So kudos to you, Mr. Lape and Mrs. Columbus and everyone else who put that plan in place. Lastly, I have just want to point out that starting next month, I'll be doing a professional learning community, actually in both buildings at different days. It's called Spartan Spark. What's that stand for? Always love acronyms, right? Spartans professional advancement in knowledge and resources and knowledge. So it'll be technology based, but it'll also be a time where, hey, how can we do this and so forth. So there will be goals to it and so forth, but it's just another area and another layer of support to put for our staff. And so it could be everything from cybersecurity to how to use AI and everything in between. Help tickets, we had 219. Since our last time, we were pretty fast on the response, 2 hours and 16 minutes, and resolutions 2 days and 14 minutes.
Any questions for Mr. Dr. Lee?
Do you have an estimate on what this that team saves you? Just curious.
I wouldn't know.
I could get you some numbers for a ballpark.
Because obviously, if we're cannibalizing, we're not buying parts, we're not buying new. So
there's definitely some savings there in regards to, we did that work in-house anyway. Yeah. So it's really just expedited a lot of the process. And in regards to the way we've cannibalized, we've been doing that since I've been here. So anything we can recycle, we do. But they followed right into that vein, and they've been great. Mr. Walzer we got a well-oiled machine at this point. I mean, we're not even a full year into it, Mr. Lape, but it's a well-oiled machine. So.
What do we do with the equipment that we can't use?
Yeah, you guys authorize disposal of obsolete products. So we have a different vendor that we use that recycles IT products for free. They don't charge us, and it's R2 certified. We get a certificate that it's been properly and securely, anything that wouldn't be recycled has been destroyed properly.
I just recycled some stuff over the weekend, and it is extremely expensive. A couple TVs, a half dozen laptops was over $300.
That's a racket. They scavenge it for precious metals.
Yeah, my wife told me to get rid of that.
Associated with the school, you can probably throw it into there.
Yeah, our recycler will take. They're really good. The only thing they don't take is they'll charge for the CRTs, unless they're taking a big gang of everything else. Then they may throw a few in there. So, but yeah, we do not pay, and more importantly, we know that our data is secure because we have that certificate too.
Thank you. Any questions for Dr. Lee? Ms. Connor?
This one, so I think this is broadcast people sponsored, and it's actually if you being beef from livestock or issue district responsible. this question, whether it was going to carry or not, based on the PAB, council's, funding, but thankfully she was able to secure that goal. So at least this year's covered. I'm working on the Act 16 report, which is, we have to take every special ed student in our district and decide how much we send out into them and give them a number based on the range of what dollars spent, and then it gets uploaded to the state and it's kind of funding each year for special ed. So it's like one, and for Secretary Diane and I have been working on that. It's a tedious process. Auditors will be here Monday. They'll be here all next week, so we'll hopefully okay, is that Rob Dawson good enough? Is that off? Then we'll have a report that we Jamie did. There's 3 items on the video of the whole agenda this evening. There's an agreement with Fort Knox Law, and there's 2 resolutions. Mr. Rich and I discussed this. We think these guys approached us many years ago and took them off because they didn't really want to do it. But the county collects our delinquent real estate taxes. They charge us 5%. They are ridiculously slow at turning that money over to the districts. I still don't have June's payments from them for this past year. So I've been hounding them, but it's going to need that next week sometime for the auditors to clean up or finish up. Anyway, these folks collect delinquent real estate taxes, and we turn this all over them and approve this, and they remit weekly, or even more often if needed, or less depending on how much they actually collect. All of the fees, the county is required to get their 5% through municipal tax law. So they give that to them, but all of the other fees are tacked on to the collection cost or the delinquent tax cost. So the only fee that we may have is some postage. And they also put that on, but there are some that don't get it. Like Shenango, Wilmington, and Elwood in Lawrence County already use this firm to do this, and speak very highly of the process, and it seems to be rather painless to switch over to it. So we added to the agenda this evening, and Mr. Mangino also looked through the agenda, the agreement, and it's fine with it. There's an agreement with them to collect, and then there's a resolution directing Lawrence County not to collect, and to add the fees onto the tax bills.
There's also a hidden loss. If we haven't had that money since June, right? Then we haven't earned that interest since June. So as far as any additional fees and whatever else, I don't, we're gonna lose that 5% no matter what. That's state law. So I think we're actually minuscule. We're talking about minuscule, we're talking millions. Does add up. And I think we're actually gonna be a little ahead of the game by pursuing these agreements similar to other schools in Lawrence County.
They also will set up payment plans with individuals, which the county does. So that was another thing. If you need any more information, please let me know. The agreement, everything is attached to all that. To know what some of the other schools have experienced.
State budget, how's that?
Well, thankfully, we had a nice tax collection in August. So in early September, we were able to put almost $2 million in the bank. So we're hanging on. And now this week, maybe first part of next week, we'll get September's. But August was the end of discount. So people did pay at discount this year. And so typically September and October are a little bit slower. But
So we're not touching fund balance or anything yet tonight.
we did in August, we had to pull some money out of our money market account. I told you. I mean, maybe I didn't, to make the bond payment. The state would have made that for us, but our bond payment was due September 1st, and I think they told us that on the 12th.
They loaned us the money.
They loaned us the money, yes, they
They're not gonna
loaned
give
us.
us the million.
No, and then apparently that there's mixed feelings on whether or not that affects future bond ratings. And as far as your lending rating, it's mixed. Because it's certainly not our fault that this is happening, but, the district's fault. But I pulled the money instead out of our money market account, and we were able to recoup that money with our tax revenue the next month. I'm still hanging on to it though. I haven't replaced it yet because I was full nervous. It's gaining interest.
Nor
It's
do I-
sitting in our account
well,
gaining interest.
What
So.
do I think you can? And again, so this is another hidden loss. So whatever interest we would have had, okay, maintaining the money market, we now don't have because we're sustaining ourselves on local funds. We are also a 66% aid ratio, meaning if we have 100% collection on a $20 million budget, we're at around $7 million. We will not be able to operate annually with 1/3 of our expected revenues. Nor can anybody. And the governor presented an inflated budget over 200 days ago. We're closing in on 90 days past when it was supposed to be passed June 30th. Through eyes and ears, the latest, I can't give it any type of credential, so just take it for what it's worth. That they're down bickering over the last $9 million of a $5 billion budget.
I had a question.
Go ahead, Laurel.
Who's going to be doing this tax thing? You might have said it. Is it Jen?
It's called, Portnoy Law and Associates.
Okay. I just didn't know if we were having to hire somebody to do that or not.
Indirectly, yes, it's an agreement with them to collect on our behalf.
Okay, but obviously we're still saving money in the long run. That's why you're doing it.
Right.
Okay, thanks.
Get more more money and more frequently.
Okay,
There
thanks.
was cost and postage, but, overall, I think.
Costs will pass through to the lake.
The costs are, yes, correct.
I mean, yeah,
We have to upfront the postage and then we get it back as they pay.
yeah, I mean, I've been in corporate America for a long time. We have instances where we'll get a third party that will pay you and we'll pay them later because our terms are what we call net never. So you may get your money never, but the same kind of idea, you get your money quicker and it's time value of money.
Right. Losing interest.
Losing interest, yeah. So you give up 1% to get your money
Plus.
in 5 days instead of 120 days.
Mr. Rich.
Not necessarily a report, but if I can call your attention to the packet of information, you should have received most of this via email. I'm going to briefly highlight it, and Mr. Lake add whatever comments you feel. I was out and about at a local business, and I was approached for a fundraiser for the band. Hell, I'll do a fundraiser for a Laurel activity. Sure, what's this for? Well, the band's going to Florida. News to me. Okay, so anyway, started looking into this a little bit. Page 1 is a description letter sent by Mrs. Klingerman and Mr. Boyer. Page 2 of this packet are motions, not for this trip. This trip that they're fundraising for is unapproved as of yet. Now, the cover letter says 25. That was a mistake. It's 26, November 26, correct?
Yes.
Too late?
Yes.
So that they have time to play catch up. But I think this board needs informed sooner rather than later. And then if you just proceed through the packet, you will see some more descriptions relative to money and cost. You'll see an itinerary of payment dates, how families register, and just some other documentation. I'll give you time to digest before next week. There's even a cost sheet called air travel rate worksheet and how that's being worked out, cost breakdown for the trip. I'm not going to bore you with page by page if you read it. In a nutshell, in a nutshell, it's $1,700 per, student. What got my concern was, in this conversation, or actually there was a posting on Facebook, I believe even on Spartan Country, where it said that some of these kids are struggling to get the money. And that's where it raises a red flag for me in this sense. I know it seems like a dream, right? You get to go to Universal, you get to go with your high school friends, you get to play an instrument, you get to dance in Universal, whatever the case might be. But at what financial hardship, particularly coming out of our recent economics with high inflation and whatnot. So it's the plan to have Mrs. Klingerman and Mr. Boyer do a short introductory presentation next week. So please make sure Mrs. Columbus and Mr. Lane are ready for that, and then answer any questions the board may have. In anticipation of any questions the board may have, I feel that you will be well educated to know what to ask by having the same information I do. I'll answer any questions from you that I can at this time, and if we can't, we will reserve those for next week. Well, you can ask them. Like, I'll give you one thing that comes to mind. So for every 25 reservations, supposedly there's one trip for a director or something. And actually, that kind of rubs me the wrong way. If the adults are going, the adults should pay too. Let's say that vouchers were 1,700. Well, you're taking 85 people allegedly. Okay, and so 85 should be free, right? Right. 17 times 3 is $5,100, right? Divide that by the 85 and lower the price for everybody. I don't think we should be incentivizing our directors to generate revenue for Universal. And the next comment is a Len Rich bias, concern, whatever the case might be. As a parent, I had one child go on a baseball trip and a daughter going on the softball trip. They were teamed together. They were going to Florida. Well, if 2 of my 3 are gone, I can't leave the one back home. So now we're all going. So there's also residual costs for these families. But hey, these travel agents are nice enough to give them a deal too. In sum, just with the 1,700 and the 85 people, we're going to take $100,000 out of the Laurel community and put it into Universal Orlando. That's a me thing. I got a problem with it. I'm not fans of these trips. But my biggest thing above all of it, objectively, is it's a little cart before the horse. I had wished that if you are going to fundraise, that whatever you are fundraising for has been approved by this board. So with all that being said, and with the information in front of you, have your questions. If you think of questions ahead of time, we're not trying to surprise anybody. Send them to me and we'll get them to the people in charge, and they can be prepared to answer. Not trying to gotcha anybody.
Yeah, I mean, we've had these trips for years. They were more frequent until COVID came along and they got spread out a little bit better. I wish we would have known about it before they started fundraising, because it's a lot of responsibility. I mean, it's not like we just wave to these kids and send them down the road. You're responsible for everything that happens to these kids. So, I'm not going to say I'm against it. I think it's a good thing. I think the kids are looking forward to it. If the parents are willing to come up with that kind of money, what are you going to do?
And then what happens, right? And so we talked, what happens if they can't?
Well, and it's not a family vacation. Like, even though they go, the student, like, they understand that the student has to stay with the faculty, right?
Oh, yeah, right. What happens if I'm on flag line and next year I get cut? You know, there's just,
$850 last year.
they're flying now, they're not driving. And again, had there been a pre-meeting with the advisors, perhaps we could have talked about that.
When it was brought up last year, the concern was they postponed it from last year. There was the politics involved, but there was supposed to be this year actually. And
Correct.
they got kicked down the road out of convenience, I'll say, so.
Correct.
So we,
Talk about that too.
Parents all on board with this or?
I'm
what
sure,
I've seen, yes.
I'm sure if you say no, you'll find out.
Yeah. If the train has left the station, I don't know what we have, I don't know what we can do at this point.
Well, believe me, I'm not looking for a fight with band parents.
Yeah, it's like, you know, there's no telling them there's no Santa Claus.
Right.
I know, but I don't know how.
It's not our problem. If you agree to go, then
Oh, you think it's pretty common sense that maybe you should tell us
I feel
that
like
you're gonna
we
fundraise
probably
before you
should.
go do it? Well, they'll have to learn from Mrs. Columbus when she plans to get this picture. That's the example.
Okay, well.
That is the biggest draw, right? Get us out in front of this and say, because, you know,
Now you kind of made us look bad, guys.
for asking questions, because your dad's right. There's a degree of district responsibility. And there's a degree of cost. You have doubled the cost just to fly.
Well, and is that pulling from other fundraisers?
Absolutely.
Like with football, and not, you know, shoot on the other foot with everybody else, like this is football was raising something to take all the kids to Alabama University or, you know, like, because our.
Or what if,
district is
what if
small.
Jason Burks wants to take the baseball team to North Carolina? Or Florida?
You're all fundraising off the same.
It's the
people.
same 25 people fundraising for everything essentially, right? The
pie
same,
is the pie.
right,
How it gets divvied up is how it gets divvied up.
right. Some slices are bigger than others. It's not equal slices all the time. Thank you. All of these are legitimate concerns that I think need to be aired out before we move forward.
In 2 months, at least.
Well, he knew. I'm just the superintendent around here, so don't ask me. I got my nut roll or whatever it is in
Yeah.
my office.
Yes. The Jared that goes for the kids. That's not gonna make-
Guess we'll get a chance to ask him next week. Anything else?
No, I'll try to keep my mouth shut for the rest of the meeting.
Item 5, questions from the floor relative to agenda items. Item 6, approval of the minutes. Item 7, approval of the budget report. Investment report. Item 8, approval of the bill listings. Food service fund. General fund bills. Item 9, personnel, retirements and resignation. Resignation of Leanne Moore, Title I paraprofessional effective September 26, 2025. And, bus monitors, we have William Kirkwood and Mariah Richards as full-time bus monitors for a rate of $57.75 a day, effective September 29, 2025. Any questions on AOB? Item C, hourly instruction, special ed aid. Hannah Eisenberg, hourly instruction, special education aid for a rate of $11 an hour effective October 15th, pending receipt of required clearances and documentation. Questions on item C. Item D, Title I paraprofessional. This is one Mrs. Lakewood had spoken about. Any questions on D? Item E, professional development workshops. Dr. Lee, Future Focused Learning Summit. Ms. Cameron Nicholson, PDE 2026 Data Summit in Hershey. Item 3, Mr. Jacob Holzhauser at the IU for Populous and Progressives Seminar on November 17th. Is that?
So it's a seminar that the IU is putting on for local American government teachers. We'll find out.
Item 4, Mr. Matthew Pertile declaring years university. And item 5, Matthew Pertile to Slippery Rock University. Item 6, Miss Amanda Long to the IU for safety care training. Any question on anything on item E? Item F, additions to the volunteer and non-instructional substitute listing for the 25-26 school year. Item 10, Committee of the Whole, approve the attached renewed contract with Delta Dental for the 26 administration fee of $648, enrollee $618, enrollee last year. Any questions on that? This would be the teachers and I guess administrators. Item B, disposal of assets plus 87 and 18. Any questions on item B? We take those to 4.2. Item C, vending machine servicing agreement. Approve attached agreement with Snack Solutions Vending LLC to provide vending machine services and maintenance at Dole Elementary School effective September 1st, 2025. Any questions on that? Item E, resolution. Mrs. Conrad talked about resolution 1025-1 and 1025-2. Any questions on E or F? Item G, the adult basketball program, Lowell Middle High School on Wednesdays from 8:30 to 10, beginning December 10th, 2025 through April 29th, 2026. And the adult walking program for 2025 to Laurel Elementary, Mondays through Thursdays from 6 till 8, beginning December 1st through April 30th, 2026. Any questions on G or H? Item I, field trips. Miss Amanda Long, Jessica Miles to the watch team and qualified life services of Newcastle. Item 2, Mr. Matt Pertile, Ryan Whippich, and Will Palmer, approximately 40 juniors and seniors at the David L. Lawrence Convention Center for career education on October 31st. Across the district's transportation. Item 3, Mr. Matt Pertile and Will Palmer, approximately 40 juniors and seniors to the David L. Lawrence Convention Center on November 20th, 2025 for careers in healthcare. Across the district is also the transportation. And Mr. Scott Boyers and honors band students at Westminster College for honors band audition October 28th, 2025 for the rest of the district will be transportation and a substitute for Mr. Boyer. Any questions on item I? Any questions or comments? None. Any new business? With that, I will adjourn the meeting. Thank you.